Harold gritted his teeth and said, "When Grandma speaks, it doesn't suit a waste like you to interrupt." Charlie looked at him, and asked, "Did you not get beaten enough last time? Do you want me to loosen your muscles?" Harold's neck shrank, and he immediately persuaded. When he robbed the villa last time, he had already seen Charlie's strength, let alone one himself. Even 10 of them would not be his opponent, so he should be honest. At this time, Claire pursed her mouth, turned her head to look at Mrs. Wilson, and said, "Sorry, we didn't invite you at today's opening ceremony. Please leave as soon as possible." "Opening ceremony?" Mrs. Wilson said disdainfully. "Claire, you wouldn't think that if your small workshop opens, there will really be customers to join us?" Noah Wilson on the side also chuckled and said, "I heard that you still sent an invitation letter to the M. Grand Group with a shy face? You don't want to think about how it is possible for a small workshop like yours to enter the eyes of the M. Grand Group." "Yes." The old Mrs. Wilson took the conversation back again, and said with a look of consolation, "Claire, the family doesn't talk about two families. The couple quarreled at the head of the bed, and the end of the bed was reconciled as before. Let alone you. It's my granddaughter. You have my blood in your body. Why fight with me?" With that said, the old Mrs. Wilson went further and said, "Look at you, you are working on such a dilapidated studio by yourself. It requires money and resources, and there are no resources. Why not return to the Wilson Group, and Grandma will let you be the director, and you work with your grandmother. In the future, I will give you an account of the shares of the Wilson Group, and even let you take over as the head. What do you think?" The Wilson family is in a very difficult situation recently. M. Grand broke off their cooperation with them, blocked them, and the White family came to divorce again, and Harold couldn't support the wall with mud. Mrs. Wilson's only hope at this time was to bring Claire back to work within the group to make a breakthrough in business. Maybe Claire could get the M. Grand Group's contract back, so that other partners would come to cooperate with them one after another, and the situation would be reversed in no time. However, Mrs. Wilson did not expect that Claire will shake her head calmly in rejection. She said, "I am not interested, I just want to do my own thing." Noah Wilson coldly snorted, "Claire, I would advise you to be respectful. Do you see how desolate you are when you opened here today? Does anyone congratulate you? That's what you want to start a business. I think you are 80% still destined to failure. Start a business, then go bankrupt. Is this what you want?" Charlie's expression was full of disdain and sarcasm and said, "Is there anyone here to congratulate? What to do with you? As long as you want to know, the entire Roose Hill dignitaries will come to congratulate Claire." Hearing what Charlie said, Harold smiled contemptuously, and said sarcastically, "Charlie, just pretend, you just know a few scumbags. Do you really think you are a big man? I really don't believe you. Can the powerful person really come here?" Wendy on the side could not help but snorted, "Charlie, this waste, is best at bragging. If there is no one to congratulate on the opening ceremony today, tomorrow this studio will become Roose Hill's laughingstock. I see how you will take orders." When Claire heard her, even though she didn't say anything on the surface, she still couldn't help but worry. The opening ceremony, to put it bluntly, is a ceremony that embodies the network resources. If there are many customers, it proves that the company has a strong network and strength can be reflected, especially if there are big people, then many people will be very face-off when they hear about this. But if there is no customer, wouldn't it be telling others that her company has no resources and no connections? How can anyone cooperate with this kind of company? If M. Grand Group could send someone to participate in the opening today, it would have added a lot of brilliance to his company, but Claire was not sure whether M. Grand Group would take care of her. Old Mrs. Wilson said at this time, "Claire, this is about to be 10 o'clock, and there is no guest. I don't think anyone has any interest in this small workshop. I advise you to return to the Wilson Group to work. It's better to help the Wilson family steadily in the future than to come out and be cold-eyed." After knowing that Claire's company was about to open, the Wilson family also had exchanges with some of the partners who had good relationships before. After they knew that Claire was from the Wilson family, they all said that they would not come to the opening ceremony. "I will never cooperate with Claire's studio in the future. Therefore, Mrs. Wilson dared to pack tickets, and there won't be any capable guests here today. At that time, Claire will naturally feel frustrated when she sees no one in her studio, and she will be able to handle her better in the future. At this moment, Claire was indeed very anxious, biting her lower lip, worried. Charlie, who was next to her, shook her hand and said seriously, "Wife, even if there is no guest today, what can be done? It is enough to have me here." Claire looked at him moved, and nodded lightly, feeling that he was more at ease. However, the old Mrs. Wilson sneered. "Charlie, you take yourself too seriously, what use are you here? Can you find a big person to join Claire's studio? Can you give Claire a favor? Is the studio looking for a cooperation order? Without the support of the Wilson Group, you will sooner or later drive yourself to a dead end." Charlie said arrogantly, "Claire's company will definitely get better and better. Let alone a Wilson Group that is on the verge of bankruptcy. Even the Wilson Group in its previous heyday is nothing in front of Claire. What's the matter? Why is it difficult to surpass you at first? 30.